Welcome back. In this tutorial we are going to look at consumables. Consumables are items that you consume in game to get an effect, like for example a health potion. And this potion is an item. It has the usual ID and UI info. In the general tab you can see some more information, like the category, the fact that it can be consumed, the consume action label, the fact that after using it, it disappears from your inventory, how many you can stack, the weight, the fact that it can be equipped and placed in a slot. You can have an equipment prefab that shows the weapon, the item equipped when you put it in a slot. You can have an equipment point. We'll go more in detail on this when we talk about weapons. A flag to say whether you drop it when you die. A drop prefab if you want a specific drop prefab, otherwise it will use the generic one. And two flags to determine whether you can use this consumable when you're swimming or when you're underwater. And then you have an effect tab. What does this consumable do? And here you can see this use action. This is a concept that's key to most items in Eadon Character Controller, and that is the fact that when you use it in some way, you trigger an action. An action is another scriptable object which has this multiple type of item actions, as you can see here. This in particular is an add health action. You have action info, basically what the action does. Does it cost stamina? Do you need an item in hand? Can you perform it in particular states? Then you have a consumable. You can spawn a potion in the left hand, in this particular case, with a specific offset. We go into detail more on offset in another tutorial. You can play a sound. You can have a delay based on the animation. You can spawn a VFX if you want, and you can spawn it on one of the hands. You can play an animation. In this case the animation is use item. In the animator it's here. Somewhere. Here. And it replaces it, because you can replace animation at runtime all the time, with a drink potion animation. Basically this works like this in game. Let's add the potion to the character. And I can see the potion is not in this resource manager, so we will first add the potion. And then we go back to the character and we add the potion. We can go in the inventory and add the potion to the consumable slot. Now we can equip the potion, and if we press the key combination for triggering the potion, which by default is shift space, you can see that the character is actually drinking a potion which disappears at the end of the animation, and that potion is this prefab, which appears in the left hand because the animation for the drink potion, as you can see, uses the left hand. We could make an extra animation, for example, called drink potion right hand, which is basically the same animation but mirrored. See, now uses the right hand. We can go back to the potion action. We can now say use drink potion right hand and have the consumable spawn on the right hand. And the potion now spawns on the right hand. This is the same principle for all consumable. There's a generic use consumable action which just performs, plays an animation, spawns potentially a prefab, spawns VFX, plays an animation, but no specific effect. There's an add health action. As you can see, if you go here, there's a lot of possible action you can trigger. For a consumable, you can have add stamina over time, add health over time, and you could trigger a spell with an action, and so on. You could have, for example, an invisibility potion which triggers an invisibility spell. The system is very flexible. You can, in theory, also create your own actions. There's a relatively simple API that lets you create new actions for items. And that's it for consumables. We'll look at melee weapons next.